Hello friends, welcome back. I'm back again with a new video on a new day. Yesterday we talked about the difference between non-reaction and non-action, and the whole idea was that, you see, the way we are, because we live mostly an unconscious life, we are all the time in automatic reaction mode. Now these automatic reactions, they are automatic responses to the situations around us. Like, it's not that we are choosing them, they just happen. They happen because of the conditioning and so many other factors. But most often these automatic reactions are destructive for our own self. They are in form of anxiety or in form of negative thought patterns. So my idea is that over the course of couple of days, we try to do something about them. So today, I would like to share with you something about why do these reactions happen. If you can find out why these reactions happen, there is a possibility that we can choose not to have them. See, the fact is, most of us, we live an unconscious life, and therefore we do not have a choice but simply to get into the reaction mode. But what if we found out why or where these reactions are happening or coming from? Then we may not always be able to choose, but still we have got the power, we will get the power to be able to choose to react or not to react in a certain situation. So that is what today we will explore, and we will go one more step further tomorrow with, just in case, if let's say if reactions are automatic and they are happening all the time, is it possible to make them more productive reactions instead of destructive reactions? I believe it is possible, and that we will explore tomorrow. But today, let's come back to where do these reactions happen? What are these reactions? Why they happen? And can we do something about that? So my first question is for you to consider, where do these reactions happen? I mean, I'm not asking why these reactions happen at this moment. What I'm asking is, where exactly, if you could point out, where do these reactions where do these reactions occur? Well, you might want to pause the video and think about it for a moment before coming back to the video, or if you choose, you can continue with the video. The reactions, they happen, actually, there is a location where they happen, and the location of these reactions is the place where body meets the mind. Yes, that's true. Mind and body are connected, but at some point body meets the mind. So this is the point where a thought translates into an emotion. So physical body is very concrete thing, right? Thought is a very subtle thing. But between this subtlety of thought and the concreteness of body, there is something I call semi-subtle field or semi-concrete field. It doesn't matter how you say it. There is a place where body meets the mind, and that is where all the emotional reactions occur. And that is where the thought becomes, or thought triggers an emotion, but that emotion happens actually in the body, but not physical body, but where body meets the mind. Now the thing is, there is a mechanism when it comes to body and mind. The body, the body will simply follow the mind. What I mean by that is that whatever the mind believes to be true, the body will react to that. That's correct. Anything the mind considers is happening or is true, the body always reacts. And by body, I don't mean just the physical body, I mean that subtle body where mind and body meet. So for our reference, we will call this energy body. From now onwards, we will call this the place where, or the dimension where emotions happen, we will call it energy body. So whenever mind considers something to be true, there is a reaction, there is a release of some kind of energy in that energy body. Now, you must have noticed this phenomena so often. I am very sure whenever you watch a movie, especially if you go to a cinema hall, you know, they make this darkness. So what do you think? Darkness is just so that you can have a good viewing experience? I mean, no, darkness is not because you can view nicely. In fact, we like light, but what darkness does is that darkness kind of creates an illusion that you are cut off from the world, and this is whatever is happening there on the screen is what is happening. So anytime something funny happens and you laugh, you see, nothing was happening in reality. It was happening on the screen. But when you are viewing that on the screen, the mind believes it to be true, that this is what is happening. And when mind believes it to be true, you will start laughing. Or let's say some bad guy is giving some trouble to a cute child, you will feel anger. Now, there is no bad guy in reality. It is just on the screen. There is no bad guy, I mean, there is no cute girl or cute child. And yet, when you watch it on the screen, the mind somehow believes that this is what is happening. And because it believes, that is why you are feeling anger. Now, let me tell you, if this phenomena would not be happening, you would never be able to enjoy any movie. Because the fact is, what is happening on the screen of a television or a screen of a cinema is not happening. But just because of that immersive mode of the mind believes it to be true, and that's why our body reacts. That's why we are able to feel the pain and the joy and the laughter and the anger and all this emotion and the sadness and tragedy whenever we watch a movie. That is because whatever is happening out there on that screen, mind believes it to be true. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter on which screen it is happening. Sometimes the screen is outside. Sometimes the screen is inside us. Whatever is happening inside the screen of our mind, like, inside also we have a screen, whatever images and thoughts and they come, it's the same phenomena. Whether you believe what is happening out there is true or whether you believe what is happening in there is true, anytime you believe into a thought or your mind perceives some images or sounds to be real, your body will create a reaction. That's the end of it. Once again, just to summarize, every time the mind considers something is true, the body always reacts to it. For a moment, let's keep this concept on side, and we will come back to this later on again, but let's talk about something else. Do you remember in the video of day 5, I was talking about an experience where me and my friend, we were sitting in his living room and watching on television some news about African kids dying of hunger, and while we were having coffee. So if you remember that, I was talking in that video that whenever something threatening happens to me or anything close to me, which forms my idea of my or me, then the reaction is stronger. The closer it is to me and my, the stronger is the reaction. So you remember that concept, right? So what is the closest thing to us? Obviously, our idea of who we are. I'm not saying who we really are, but I'm saying what we believe to be me, like whatever is our concept of I, me. In simple words, we can say our identity. So whenever our identity is threatened by anything or anyone, the reaction will be stronger and the strongest one. So the question is, where does this identity come from? Soon we are going to mix the concept of the first concept we talked today and this second one, and things will be more clearer. But at this point I want to ask, how does identity gets formed? So you see, while we are growing up, in the process we start believing things about ourselves. Now majority of these beliefs that we have about ourselves, they have come from the world around us. The world has told you you are good. If the world has told you more times you are good than it has told you you are bad, you may start believing you are good. If the world has told you more times that you are bad than the times it has told you you are good, you probably will start believing you are bad. It doesn't matter what you believe. The point is that basically there is a very big role of the people around us. When they tell us things, we start believing those things, right? And when we start believing this thing, we create an identity. But at some point, any identity that you have, maybe you believe you are very good, maybe you believe you are very intelligent, or you are very beautiful, or you are very humorous. I don't know, whatever is the part of your identity, anything that forms part of your identity, whenever something threatens that, you will have a very strong reaction. There will be a blast of energy. Now we are coming back to the concept number one that we talked today, where whatever the mind believes to be true, the body will react to it, right? So the real problem is that when the world tells you things about you, you believe into them. And when you believe what the world tells you, there is a reaction. So most often the reaction is because your mind believes what the world tells you is true, or what you perceive is happening is to be true. So this is a natural process. If you believe it to be true, there will be a reaction. I will give you a simple example. Just imagine I am meeting someone in a cafe, and this person, my friend, let's say, he or she comes, and I greet them, hello, how are you, how are things with you, and then I suddenly tell them, you know what, you are dead, you are not alive, you don't exist at this moment. Now if I tell this to my friend, or if I tell this to you, imagine what would be your reaction. You will not be angry, you will laugh. You will laugh that, am I a fool? I mean not you, am I a fool to tell you that you don't exist? Because you know for sure that you exist right now, and I am telling you that you don't exist. And in that case, you will not be angry on me, but you will feel that I am a fool, and maybe I am crazy and I should be taken to some loony bin, The point is, when you are sure that what is being told to you or said to you is not right, when your mind absolutely does not believe it, there is no negative reaction. But see, if I tell you you are dead, you will laugh. But if I tell you you are fat, you are ugly, you are a fool, you are not intelligent, you are not wise, you are not beautiful, you are not lovable, each one of these words has the power to blast the volcano inside you. And the closer a person who is to you tells you these words, the bigger the reaction is, isn't it? So why do you react in that case then? You didn't react it with negativity if I say to you that you are dead, but you react if I say you are ugly, or you are fat, or you are not intelligent, you are a fool. You will react. The reason is, when I say that you are dead, you have absolute certainty in your mind that this is a false statement. Your mind knows it so clearly that there is no need for reaction, and that's why reaction does not happen. But that is not the case when I or someone else tells you that you are not intelligent, you are not beautiful, you are not lovable or whatever else, we somehow, something within us is not sure that these things are false. Somewhere our mind must be believing into those things. Somewhere our mind must think they are right. See, this is not about that, oh my God, I am so touched by what they say, like it is so bad that they said. No, if it is outright false, you will laugh at them. You will feel this is a crazy guy telling me this thing. But if you believe into that, if there is a reaction, it doesn't show that it touched you. No, it simply shows that somewhere part of you believes in those words. Otherwise, there would be no reaction. And I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking, check with yourself. Anytime when someone comes to you and tells you which you know is absolutely false, you don't feel angry. On the contrary, maybe you will feel pity on that person. You will feel laughing, But the reaction is an indication that perhaps you recognize that to be true within yourself. Now, I'm not saying it is true. I'm saying you recognize. It may be true, it may not be true. But because you recognize that there is some truth in that statement, that is why the reaction is. And at this point, I would like to say that, imagine there is a robot, robot, right? So this robot can do a lot of things. The robot can move in this direction, it can raise one hand, second hand, leg, up, down, with a remote control. Now, if you have the remote control of the robot, it's fine. You can move it here and there. But imagine that you place this robot in the middle of a room and you give 10 people the remote controls of the same robot, and you tell them that you can make the robot do whatever you want. So what would happen? One person presses the button for the robot to go hand up, another for the leg up, one pushes the robot on this side, the other pushes the robot on that side, and the robot goes nuts. It will go crazy. It will break down into pieces. And it feels funny when we think about such a robot like who is being controlled by 10 different people with 10 different remote controls. But it's not funny. You are that robot. I am that robot. We are that robot. And every person that is around us in this world, every person that we know, every person who is a part of our life has the remote control to control us, to make us react in the form of words and statements. Every time they say some statement, there will be a reaction. Now, the whole idea here is to know that the reactions happen not because people say. The reactions happen because we believe what people say is right. So the problem is not with the people. The problem lies within us, and we have got to do something about it. So that is what is today's task. I will share with you today's task. The idea of today's task comes from the work of a spiritual teacher. Her name is Byron Katie. Many of you may have heard about her. When I think about this idea of why reactions happen and what we can do to have lesser or no reactions, I believe that the technique which is given by Byron Katie here is one of the best techniques to deal with this situation. But I must warn you that there is no teacher or no teaching which is good for everyone or which works for everyone. So some of the things which I share with you may work for you, some of the things which I say for you may not work for you. It is very individual, but over the period of our 40 days I am going to share with you about so many different teachers and so many different teachings and techniques, that at least some of you will find some ways that definitely works for you. But today, when we are talking about reactions and how to take out the air from that balloon of reaction, I will share with you your task, which comes from the work of Byron Katie. And interestingly, Byron Katie, she herself calls her work the work. So it is called the work, like it is popular in the world as the THE, the work. It's very simple. The task comes in form of 4 questions. Every time you come across a situation where there is some kind of reaction or some kind of a judgment or something that causes you to have a negative emotion inside of you, you are supposed to ask these 4 questions to yourself. So here are the questions. So the first question that you ask yourself whenever something happens, someone says you something, someone criticizes you, or something happens that creates a reaction inside you, any situation, but the reaction happened because you perceived it in some way threatening to you, to your identity. That's why the reaction happened. So then ask the first question. The first question is a very simple question. Is it true? Inside, find out the answer, yes or no. If the answer is no, matter ends there. But then still you will go to the question number 3 if the answer is no. But if the answer is yes, if you feel that it is true, then go to the second question. The second question that you will be asking yourself is, can I absolutely know that this is true? See, I am not asking, do you really know? I am not asking, do you absolutely know? I am asking, can you absolutely be sure that it is true? So this is about not that you know or not. This is about, is it really possible to discover the real truth in this situation? So you ask that question to yourself, and then you move on to the third question. Okay, what do I feel? What kind of reaction comes to me? What kind of reaction happens in me? How do I feel when I believe this to be true? That is the third question. So that is about the reaction. You obviously know, but it is better to be very clear about it. And then the fourth and the last question that you ask yourself is, what would I be in absence of this particular thought or judgment or idea? Like whatever thought or judgment or idea or perception created this reaction in you. For example, if someone comes to you and says that you are not lovable, I don't like you. Now obviously that would create a reaction inside you. But in that case, suppose if you are considering that situation, then the fourth question would be, what would I be in absence of this thought or this perception? So let's say if someone, this particular person, has not come to you and has not said you that you are not likable, that you are not lovable, then how would you be, or what would you be? Take a moment, close your eyes and imagine that this idea or this perception does not exist. Then how would you be? And you will find that, obviously there would not have been this reaction. So what it shows is that the reaction was caused because of that particular idea or perception. But anyways, this is a process I would recommend you to put it on paper, not just do it in the mind, but when a reaction happens, put it on paper, these 4 questions, right? For the sake of convenience, I will put a document which has all these 4 questions in form of a worksheet, so you can use it, you can print it as many times as you want, and you can use that one. So that's about why reactions happen and what we can do to take out the air from that balloon of reaction. That was the topic for today. Tomorrow we'll go one step further with, as I mentioned, sometimes things are so fast, there is no way for us to choose to have reaction or not to have reaction. In this case, is it possible, instead of a negative reaction, or I wouldn't say negative reaction, I would say a destructive reaction, instead of a destructive reaction, can we have, if at all that has to be a reaction, can we have a positive reaction or an empowering reaction? That will be the topic for tomorrow. With that, I leave you for today. Have a great day. Once for me, always a pleasure to come back to you. Thank you very much.